Hey folks, how you doing? You can see blue skies above northern Israel on this Tuesday, the whatever it is, 24th of February, something like that, 2025. And it is important to realize a few things if you are trading Bitcoin or crypto or anything really on this day. Right? There's a video going around on some channel that profanely calls itself the best trading channel on YouTube and the biggest and all that. It's got a couple 100,000 subscribers. There's, first of all, not that the size of your subscription or followers matter in terms of verifying your quality as a channel, but there are tons of channels with many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers and subscribers. And there are plenty, and by the way, many of those are, most if not all of them, are absolute garbage when it comes to information about trading. And there are tons of tiny channels as well. And some of them, like our Alpha Trading channel, are real hidden gems because we actually don't give you bullshit. Right? We give you actual information that shows you what the HFT firms are doing and who are the HFT firms and the quant shops and who are they. Those are the companies that make and build and maintain the algorithms that run the vast majority of the trades on the internet on any exchange, on any asset and on any time frame. And they do it using highly relevant mathematics, maths, or math, depending on where you're from and how you learn to speak English. Right? And there's this guy, this English bloke. Call him an English bloke because, well, I learned English in England, so I can do that. Gary, you've probably seen some videos of his if you watch trading videos or economics videos. And honestly, he's a brilliant guy. He grew up in a council home, like meaning, if you're from America, that basically means, not a rich kid, born, middle class or lower middle class economically. Really sweet guy, really smart, knows what the hell he's talking about when it comes to actually trading, okay? But from his perspective. And he does not use, from everything I can tell about, volatility, entropy, probability, and statistics. He trades in a very old school way of trading, but it works very nicely for him. Why? Well, because he learned to hone his instincts, okay, and to trade his skills. Basically, he likes to short sell a lot of stuff. He also likes to long, apparently. And he bought gold, whatever, in 2020 during the period of COVID and all that. And he's one of these people who really looks at the macroeconomic picture a little bit and does like medium term trades, apparently. Just what he says anyway. And he's, he likes to go on his YouTube channel and talk about some economic issues. And frankly, very often the things he talks about are spot on. This video is not to disrespect him in any way, except to say that I don't agree with him about short-term trading information, but that's because, he views it as purely gambling. I don't. And the reason is that if you manage your risk properly, right, and you use leading information properly, right, you're not over leveraging trades and you're not swing trading trades on volatile assets. You're in, you take your profit, you get out, right? Or if you're in and you're wrong, you cut your loss, get out immediately, right? That's not gambling. That is managing risk. Gambling is if you go in with an over leveraged position that you can't afford to lose, and then it goes against you and you don't get out immediately. and you stay in and you lose everything. That is or you lose a huge chunk, what you can't afford to lose. That's gambling. That's degenerate behavior, right? And that is nonsense. That is stupid, frankly. Anyway, this guy Gary, again, clearly a really, really smart guy. Okay. I mean, he earned his spot on the trading floor at Citibank by winning some card game, by, whatever. He has a really interesting backstory. If you don't know it, I'm not going to give any spoilers here or whatever, but check out Gary Economics. Really smart guy. He was like Citibank's top trader in the world for some period of time. Which I was surprised because he said he made like $60 million or something trading, which I actually found that surprising because there are traders who make a whole lot more than that. But I guess I don't know if he meant on the 60 million that I guess that's the 60 million he earned from the overall profits he generated for the company, right? So that would be actually really massive. It's like hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of profits generated for Citi. In which case, yes, that is very impressive. And that does make sense because he was trading for Citi. He wasn't trading his own money, effectively, right? But this guy gets on this show. I think the channel is called like Words of Wisdom, some really cheesy, cringy name like that. It's like a year old, whatever. And they already have 250,000 subscribers, which again is not huge in the world of trading, but it's not tiny either. And obviously, if you have a channel with a name like that, your initial audience, the first 20, 50, 100,000 people that are going to watch it are very likely going to be extremely young, degenerate gambler dudes. Like using a meme word like Rizdom, Riz, whatever, which is a silly word, but has become a popular word in the modern culture. Which guy dreams though? Yes, I like numbers. What am I streaming from? I'm on a camera that's on a mobile phone, and I'm walking around northern Israel with my dog on a random hike. Kind of a hike, a dog walk. Anyway, this guy Gary is on the show Words of Wisdom, and they're talking. The interviewer is asking him all about his, background, experience, and some anecdotes here and there. And Gary tells him, I told my mates to place, these trades, and they did quite well, but then they made the mistake of thinking that they were the smart traders. But they're not, because they just followed my advice. And I'm a really good trader, and they're not, right? And what he said, which I agree with completely, is what they ought to do is when they get a tip from a guy like me, which is, I'm not charging them anything because I'm their friend, I'm their mate, is they should place the trade, open the app, place the trade, close the app, and never open it again. Because if you do open it again, you're more likely to gamble than not. And as I always say, yes, most people are not cut out to be traders. And that is very good advice. There's nothing I'm not going to disagree with that. What I do disagree with him is his view about Bitcoin and crypto in general. Right now, what he said, which is smart, which is, why would you buy Bitcoin? It's already gone up like 1,000,000%. It's gone up actually a lot more than that, but he's counting from wherever. The idea is to buy low and with something that can go higher over time. And if it's already go up 1,000,000%, it's ridiculous. It's going to go to zero. And he's like, and one day definitely Bitcoin is going to zero. Here's the thing. Yeah, I disagree with that more than a little. Now, is it possible it'll go to zero? Sure, it can go to zero. but I disagree with the anti-crypto in general view. And he's like, he was trashing crypto and his, emails he gets from people who trade crypto, complaining about they lost all their money, et cetera, and bemoaning their life because they lost their life savings because they were trading crypto and they messed up. Again, degens are going to gamble. It doesn't matter if it's crypto or some other new mousetrap that comes along. Okay, AI coins, whatever, AI stocks, it doesn't matter. What matters, right, is that people are going to be degenerates and they're going to gamble their life savings because that's how human beings are. But I don't agree that crypto in general and Bitcoin in particular are just going to go to zero because human beings do stupid things with their money. That's not a reason for an asset class that the entire world is shifting towards to just go to zero. Okay? It's just not. Okay? Now, there are things you can say about crypto and Bitcoin in particular, which you could be very critical of, which are totally legitimate. And I agree with that, actually. There are a lot of things about those assets which I happen to think are great in many ways, but also not so great in many ways. And anybody who's watched my channel knows I am a huge critic of the way that Bitcoin has become distributed basically among the wealthy only. Okay? I'm not a fan of that at all. It was never designed for people like Gary who already have millions of dollars. It was never designed for people who were already wealthy before they got into it. It was designed as an escape hatch from the traditional financial system, meaning it's designed to be a useful tool for people who aren't already wealthy. Okay? How can it be a useful tool unless the price goes up? Well, again, it is a useful tool because it does a whole lot more than just price go up, right? It is useful for storing information. It is useful for retrieving information. Bitcoin is extremely useful as an asset, and crypto is extremely useful as an asset class because it has a lot of virtual functionality, right? Both potentially and actively, currently in kinetic use. Does that mean that there's no flaws in it? No, of course there's flaws in it. Does that mean that there are no cryptos that are going to fail? No, plenty of cryptos have failed, and many more will. But to say that just because your mates lost money on crypto, that it's going to go to zero, or that Bitcoin specifically is going to go to zero, when mathematically you could look at it and say it's barely, if at all, touched 1% of its potential. It probably hasn't even touched 1% of it. It's probably, if you're bullish like me in the very long term, I don't want to say the number, but because you're like, I'm just crazy, but let's just say the 1% is still far away. And do the math and you can figure it out, okay? And I do believe that there is definitely potential for Bitcoin to be worth way, way more than even $10 million a coin, okay? By which point, also, you got to keep remember the dollar's buying power, purchasing power of the dollar keeps decreasing, as does every other fiat. And that's the thing. When people say Bitcoin's going to zero, what's the alternative? What is the alternative? If Bitcoin goes to zero, and dollars are going to zero, and euros are going to zero, and pounds are going to zero, and yen are going to zero, and shekels are going to zero, and every fiat currency is going to zero, what's your alternative? if we don't invent a better way to transact values, if we don't invent a better money, what's better than fiat currently right now that exists? Bitcoin. In terms of tangible functionality, Bitcoin is better than fiat. Now you could say, well, it's not as fast as centralized fiat systems, digital computer networks that are centralized and controlled by centralized banks that are regulated, and it's much safer to use fiat. Yeah, it's safer until it isn't. There is no run on the bank until there's a run on the bank. And when there is a run on the bank, if your money's in the bank, it's game over. If your money's on a cold wallet and it's yours and you store it privately, you know the keywords or the passphrase or the seed phrase, and no one else does, and it's secure, and your money's Bitcoin, barring a massive global catastrophe that literally makes money not the top priority anyway, nobody's taking your Bitcoin, and nobody's going to make it worth anything, make it worth nothing, because it will still have value. As long as there's electricity, you can use it on the internet. And even if there isn't electricity, yeah, you can use Bitcoin with paper and pencil. And yeah, it would take ages to update ledgers and do all this kind of stuff, but it would still be possible. And yeah, people would have to learn a new skill set, how to use Bitcoin without computers. But guess what? It is entirely possible. And my point is, again, what is better? What is better right now than Bitcoin or any really good crypto that you could say, well, this is better than Bitcoin? Okay, I'm not going to argue about the technology right now about between the different cryptos. Let's just say crypto, okay? Let's say they are all, no, they're not, but let's say they're all, compatible and of equal value technologically. Not one of them is worse, except the scams and the rugs. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about legitimate, real coins. Okay, whether they're centralized or decentralized, by the way. Like Solana, I know people hate it. A lot of people don't like Solana. They say it's a scam. It's this and that. Well, been going on for quite a long time, and it doesn't seem to be a scam. But okay. So if you want to take those out of the mix, take it out of the mix. Just look at decentralized coins: Bitcoin, Litecoin, ADA, Doge, Dash, I don't care, whatever. Any truly decentralized cryptocurrency. Truly decentralized, right? Now you tell me, which one of them is actually worse, functionally speaking, than fiat in terms of an asset that you can keep and store yourself and protect without having to worry about centralized banks shutting it down or governments shutting it down? Which one? Sure, you could tell me, well, they're too volatile. As a trader, you should love that. Well, I don't like it because it's too volatile, because I can't use it as a consumer. Okay, that's fine. That's your choice. It has functionality. It has major functionality for people that may or may not have access to traditional banks and may or may not like the access that they have to those traditional banks. So I remind you again, what is the, when you criticize something like crypto from the point of view of a trader, and you say it is going to zero, you really have to at least be able to defend the system you are currently living in. And in my opinion, you cannot defend the fiat system you're living in with any chance of success, because we all know. If you don't know, learn to think. We all know the fiat system we're living in is living on borrowed time. And it was borrowed way before you tried to borrow any of it. And the borrowing that you're doing is at a price that your parents never had to pay, your grandparents never had to pay, and your great-grandparents definitely never had to pay. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Buddy. Dog having a bit of a rest here. So, again, what about crypto is worse than fiat? I'm dying to know. I'm dying to hear it. Because so far, what about crypto is worse than fiat? All I hear is, oh, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi. It's all about making the other guy hold a bag that's pricier than yours. Tell me something. What asset do you trade? What asset do you buy and hope to sell later where that isn't the case? Is there an asset on the market today that you buy that you don't hope goes up in price? Is there an asset that you sell that you don't hope goes down in price? The whole freaking point of trading is that the price will go up or down in the direction of the trade you placed. So to say that crypto is a scam because all it is degens gambling, then all I have to say is, in that case, yeah, and I said it before, for the vast majority of people, all of trading is a scam, and you should avoid it because you cannot do it right, because you don't have the right attitude. Right? You have the attitude of a degen gambler. You're viewing the market as a casino. And it's not, even though I joke around about being casino-like many times, right? Rather frequently, even, you could say. The market is not actually a casino if you know what the hell you're doing. Do you think BlackRock is in business because they're just the luckiest gamblers in the world? Do you think Citadel is in business because they're just the luckiest gamblers in the world? I'm talking about their trading desks, yeah? But you could even say that about their investment houses. Do you think that they're just super lucky gamblers? Or do you think that they know maybe something that you don't know, which is that in order to make money in markets, you have to trade or invest in the relevant maths? Well, which is it? What do you think? What is it you think? You think BlackRock and Citadel are just lucky gamblers, and that one day just their gambling luck will run out and they're just going to become broke companies? It'll probably take more than a day if it happens. When you have that kind of capital. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta do something with my dog here. Hey, buddy, come here. Good dog. Good dog. Let's go. Up we go. This is a good dog. That's a good dog. Sometimes my dog likes to just walk real slow and even lay down in the middle of his walks. And I have to just like pick him up, which is fun when you have a giant dog. the weight and size of a human being, fully grown. Anyway, so again, whether you think Bitcoin and crypto are useful, compare it to something relevant. Is it useful compared to fiat? Can you use a Bitcoin right now to buy stuff with? The answer is absolutely yes, you can. Okay? You can use, if you had a Bitcoin right now, first of all, if you have a whole Bitcoin, you can sell part of it and cash it out and buy stuff with it. Or you can buy stuff, even if you don't have a whole Bitcoin, right? If you have a tiny portion of Bitcoin, you buy a lot of stuff that's sold in Bitcoins. And people say, oh, there's no utility. People only, all they do is buy and sell it. That's just not true. Okay, first of all, people buy ordinals and runes with Bitcoin, and you say, well, those nothing. That's just silly JPEGs on the internet. Okay, no, they're inscriptions on Bitcoin. Right? One is a non-fungible version of like an image. Another one is fungible. Runes are fungible, right? They're kind of like little blockchains inside of blockchains, or they're kind of like, well, yeah, they are basically. I mean, they're basically creating tokens inside of coins, right? So runes are kind of like, what ERC20 tokens are to Ethereum, runes are to Bitcoin, effectively. They're like meme coins on Bitcoin, or altcoins on Bitcoin. And you can argue about the value of that or whatever. It's still a thing. It's a thing people do and use and trade. And they buy and sell it. And it's not just like it has no value to them. No, it has value to them. Just like ordinals have value to people. Right? They're inscriptions on Bitcoin, Satoshis. And those inscriptions can be graphics, they can be audio files, they can be multimedia files. Right? They can have significant value to some people. Right? And Bitcoin can store other information, which it has always been able to do, and which is one of the reasons I first started using it when it first came out. Right? Stores information that is archivable and retrievable. And it's transferable, pseudonymous, even anonymous if you know what you're doing. There's a whole huge list of reasons, right? It's portable, scalable, mobile, blah, 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 divisible, whatever. And it has limited supply and all the other lovely qualities. So the question is, in what way is Bitcoin worse than fiat? Right? And the answer is it's just not. Now, I know critics will say, oh, it's all a scam. It's just controlled by criminal gangs. And that's just not true. Are there criminals involved in crypto and in Bitcoin? Yeah, of course there are. But I'm sorry, are there not criminals involved in fiat? Like 1 billion times more, literally, since the invention of money and the invention of not even before fiat, when there was hard-pegged gold-backed money. There were criminals in that world too. Why do you think they invented ridges on coins? Because the average person was sanding down the coins or cutting off little tiny bits here and there, right? That's why. Right? Those ridges are there as an anti-cheating mechanism. Most people don't even know what those ridges are for. And many coins don't even have them anymore because the metal they're made out of is some cheap alloy that's not even worth the value of like what you think it is, right? Why are they getting rid of the penny, for example? Well, the penny costs 2 cents to produce. They haven't got rid of it yet, right? But why did President Trump, for example, recently say he wants to get rid of the penny? Because it costs 2 cents to produce a penny. Okay, it's a bit of a lame argument, but it's an argument, right? At least if a penny costs 2 cents to make, well, then really, if it's worth 2 pennies, great. Then it should be a 2-penny coin, a 2-cent coin. But many coins around the world are worth far less, far less, right, than the actual metals used to make that coin, which is what makes it possible to mint them, right? They're not weighed by the metal used. And when you get a penny, it's not 1 penny worth of copper, right? It's a cheap alloy of zinc and whatever. And so, again, when people say that crypto is not worth anything, and that Bitcoin is a scam, and that crypto is a scam, and it's all going to zero, even smart guys like Gary Vee, Gary, I don't know what his last name is, sorry, not Gary Vee, Gary Economics, Gary, I forget his last name, and he's a smart dude, but he himself comes from the fiat world, and I'm sure he would openly admit that he doesn't actually understand the use case for crypto. As they say in the Bitcoin world, he hasn't been orange pilled yet, right? Which does not mean to be brainwashed into being a degenerate gambler. Not at all. It means to understand not just the macroeconomics and the micro details of the technology, but the actual impact, the significant impact on society that Bitcoin will have, and that is already having. And, that's why I think that even you can learn things from all kinds of people. I think you can learn things from a guy like Gary when it comes to economics and how to do certain things with investments in markets and protecting your assets and this and that kind of stuff. He's very smart about some things, but nobody is an expert about everything. And it is entirely possible for a guy who is super smart about the economy in general to be wrong about something as big and as significant as Bitcoin and crypto. It's not just possible, it's highly probable. Because the odds of being correct about all the things is very low, very, very low. Anyway, guys, that's going to do for now. I'll talk to you later. I'll talk about crypto and Bitcoin. And feel free to follow my channel or whatever, subscribe, whatever it's called on YouTube. And if you want to see me talk about trading, feel free to join the Alpha Trading Discord, which is over at alphatradinghq.com/Discord. Again, alphatradinghq.com/Discord. All right, peace. All right.